Congrats on getting beyond $1 million. What got you here won't always get you there. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to reach beyond their 7-figure business and scale to 8, 9, and even 10 figures. I'm Brad Weimert, and as the founder of Easy Pay Direct, I have had the privilege to work with more than 30,000 businesses, allowing me to see the data behind what some of the most successful companies on the planet are doing differently. Join me each week as I dig in with experts in sales, marketing, operations, technology, and wealth building. And you'll learn some of the specific tools, tactics, and strategies that are working today in those multi-million, 8, 9, and 10-figure businesses. Life can get exciting beyond $1 million. Tony Grebmeier.
Brad.
Appreciate you coming out, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's we've actually recorded several things, and we've known each other for several years now. We've done a little bit of business together. There are lots of things we could talk about, but just for backdrop, you own ShipOffers. You've had it for quite a while. Give a little background on what ShipOffers is, what it does.
Love it.
Why you're awesome.
Well, hey, ShipOffers has been around for 20 years, and I'm the guy who, it started in my garage because I saw there was a need for fulfillment in the marketplace. And there's 1,000 companies out there you can go work with, but I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to just put stuff in a box and call it a day. I wanted to figure out how to help the person selling to sell more. I wanted to help the person figure out, how to that scaling problem so many people have. So that's why you came into play, because you became a strategic partner along kind of the avenue of helping somebody. Merchant accounts are the number one things people burn. I want to stay in business. I need to help them figure out how to make money. So go get a merchant account. So when you say a little bit of business, I think the idea is to help people where you need to find the help. And most of the guys that come to us have a scale problem, and it's around merchants. And so ShipOffers is just a strategic partner when you're looking to grow a business. We have 50 products on demand. You can white label them, all in the health and wellness industry. And then we can help you kind of figure out traffic. We don't do it. We'll find partners. So I vet everybody heavily. And I don't know very many people that have a badass mohawk like you. So it's really cool when you get to sit down with somebody and you get to solve their biggest headaches. And then you realize that's one of mine. And I just gave somebody some information. So we've been doing it for 20 years. I love it. I do it every day. I don't take days off because there's no time to rest, because I get this one shot to do it right. So I love it every day to figure out how to solve that problem.
I love it. So, I want to talk about a bunch of things, but I think relevant context is everybody loves you. So this is and when I say that, what I mean is that everybody loves you. And the way that happened was you care about relationships. And actually the way that we connected in the first place was that we are very similar from that perspective. One of my foundational theses in life, on life, is that relationships are the foundation of everything else that you do. You can take any success or failure in your life, any moment, and you can drill back to figuring out how it wouldn't have happened if somebody wasn't there, right? Hey, this only happened because I happened to intersect with this person at one point in time, and we built this relationship that took us here. And you lean into that really heavily in your world. And we were talking last night about kind of how that plays into life today. But I guess before anything else, where does that fit into the scheme of, look, a fulfillment company, you've got a big ass warehouse with a whole bunch of stuff that people have to move around, pack, label, ship. How does that work in that world where you've got this operational systemic machine that has to happen? Where do relationships play into both the operational side of it and also the acquisition side of it?
Great question. I'll back up because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a guy named Scott Calvert.
Oh, I love that.
Scott Calvert said to me, I need you to meet this guy, Kevin Cohen. Kevin goes, hey, we started chatting. We were talking about our business. I had a couple people doing some work, driving some traffic. We were in a 5,000 square foot warehouse. And he goes, you need to get to TNC. It's in San Francisco. I think it's 12 or 13. I said, what's TNC? He's like, dude, you just come. I said, all right, I'm living in Colorado. I book a ticket and we go to this event and I walk in. There's Andy Huson. I didn't know who the hell he was. Vinny Fisher was on stage. I had no clue who Vinny was. But I sat in the very back listening in the very first kind of talk, and it was William Shatner. And I'm here's this 80-year-old dude talking about the Brown Bag Wine Club. I'm if that guy can do that and have fun at 80, why can't I? And right then and there, I met a guy who was driving tons of traffic. We got to lunch. I met a guy named Will Vasquez from Utah. And I started just putting all these things together. And I get back and I make a phone call to Chad and we're talking. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been kind of helping a couple of your guys. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, a couple of your offers that you have like in your warehouse, I've been driving some traffic to. And I said, well, what would it look like to drive more? And so 3, 4, 5 turned into 10. Those guys scaled from like a couple hundred orders a week to a couple hundred orders a day. Relationships are everything, man. So the relationship for me, it's interesting. It's currency. You can be worth nothing and your relationship has no value, or you can add tons of value and grow your currency. And so everything for me is about, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I'm not, I'm going to clean up my mess. I was running late today. I texted, your assistant. I said, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. That really goes a long way when you're helping a client. I have all these offers and they're now SKUs in my warehouse. I'm like, I don't freaking know SKUs. I know people. So yesterday, running late for a meeting, somebody was on my team and I said, hey, I'll take it. I sat down. We were chatting for a few minutes. It was a flavor profile guy came to me, as a lab looking at getting some of his stuff into our hands. And I said, hey, dude, I'm going to stop you. I said, I don't spend any time in the powder industry. It's not worth my time. I can't scale it. It's not scalable. I'm sorry that you took an hour time. But however, I could deliver a lot of clients to you who are looking for flavors to make their products unique. And he totally shook his head. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't need your business. I'll take it, as Jim Rohn says, but I'll give you a ton of business. And he goes, do you want it back? I said, if it makes sense for the client, then absolutely, but I'm not needing it. And then a client of mine sat down and we didn't even talk about business. Talked about mindset. And that's how I scale relationships. Most people have one common problem. They don't feel worthy enough of their successes.
Mm.
So you say, I'm a nice guy. That's awesome. But I struggle so much because I have social anxiety. And you would never know it because I'm at the forefront trying to fight that every single day. I get into a room and I'm like, all right, overwhelmed. At a dinner, I'm like, all right, I'm supposed to be the host. I'm like, I want to leave.
Well, that's where we were hanging out last night. You and I were outside talking.
So it's so important to know what your kryptonite is. Because Superman fought knowing that he had a kryptonite. He didn't okay, cool, nothing's ever going to happen to me. And when it got put around his neck, he sat there and he needed a friend to come and help him get it off. That, to me, is ultimately how do you help people scale at a business. Know what your kryptonite is and know that you can ask people to help you. And everything to me is a relationship. People will tell you if they know one thing about me, I'm the guy most likely to send you a voicemail. My kids hate voice text messages. So I'm like, if you're watching and you're an app developer, I've got the genius app you can develop right now and make billions. Build an app that when I send a voice text, it transcribes and gives me the option to send that and the message at the same time.
I like that.
Because I'm in a meeting, right? And someone sends me one. I'm like, I can't hear you. And it disappears. I'm like, what the F? But then if I had the text copy, then I'm like, that's cool. And you can make that disappear or I could keep that. But at least I could get the gist of what you're trying to think about.
Yeah. Come on, Apple. Get it together.
But that, there you go. That's $1 billion app idea. I just gave it to you for free.
I love it. So relationships as the foundation. For me, one of the gaps that needs to be bridged is I was talking to somebody about this last night. Actually, Aaron Hind, who is a very good friend. And he said, he actually leaned to me and said, hey, do you do Tony's credit card processing? And I said, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. And then I thought, shit, maybe I don't. And then I thought, I bet I've never even asked him that. And it led to this conversation of 4 years. And I used to say that it was to a fault. And I still maybe, but for years, I never even made the ask for people in my network or friends to be clients, to work together, because it wasn't the point for me. The point was building the relationship. And the rest of it takes care of itself. However, at some point, if you don't make the ask, it never happens.
So you want to ask?
Yeah. Can we do your credit card process?
Yeah. I think it's a great conversation. I'd definitely bring Doug into it. No, I love it. And I want to go back to what I was saying, and I'm going to tie it perfectly into that. So Aaron's from Santa Cruz. I'm from Santa Cruz. I love the guy. I took out an Excel spreadsheet one day and I went backwards in my business. I wanted to figure out how I found out how I got to where I was at.
I love that.
So it took me about 4.5 hours, drilled down, did some old data searching on social media, found some old pictures, went into my Google, found some old pictures and started piecing it all together. And if you don't go back, and I call that becoming the archaeologist in your life, you need to go back to dig so you can know where you want to go, which is then you become the architect. And then eventually you become the astronaut and you can blast off. But if you don't go through those pieces, I don't believe you'll ever get to anywhere other than where you're at because you don't know what you're looking for. So I needed to dig up some stuff, got really clear that specific key relationships played a huge role. So then I can go back and show gratitude and give my buddy Kevin huge accolades. My buddy who introduced us died recently, and Kevin and I got a chance to share about that. And I talked to Kevin frequently. He became a business consultant for us for many years through not thinking, hey, let me get him to this event, let me do this, and let me go consult his business. Kind of like you getting that question from Aaron, like, do you do this credit card processing? You're like, I just wanted to be like a good guy and just like meet people. So there's a reason, a season, or a lifetime why people are in your life. And I'm not here to figure that out. I'm here for the reason, like somebody told me I need to go hang out with Brad for a while. The rest takes care of itself if you take care of what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
So definitely I can make that conversation happen. And I think and you smile, but I think like it's the ballsiest thing that people are afraid to do is like ask for what the hell you want.
Yeah.
I literally at our dinner last night, there was supposed to be 2 little portions at the very bottom, like things to accompany your dinner, right? It was like Oscar style or a lobster tail, and it wasn't on there. And I was like freaking pissed when they came to take my order. I said, can I have a lobster tail? And he's like, we don't have it. I'm like, can I have a lobster tail? He's like, sure. So it's like, you just need to ask for it, right?
You really do, man. I love that. One of my favorite things is exactly what you just said, which is when somebody gives you not really a no, but they give you a reason why it couldn't be. And I'm kind of like, that's not what I asked. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, then. Okay.
My youngest came home one day and he goes, Dad, I heard this and I think it's really good. I said, what is it? He goes, you need to say yes until it makes sense to say no.
Mm.
And I was like, all right, cool. So now I've been like reversing that when I'm asking for what I want. I'm like, you should say yes. My kid told me, don't say no, because I want the yes, please. It's amazing what happens when you get out of that kind of context of like, the world is, there's another analogy that I use is that, you know, you'll only find 3 pearls in like 100 oysters. And most entrepreneurs give up after a few because they didn't find any. I say, you know, get busy shucking, or you'll never find what you're looking for. So shuck, shuck, shuck. And if you cut yourself, hurt yourself along the way, don't worry, you're not alone. There's other people shucking too. Just be the guy who never quits. And relationships, you know, all that I have is everything I've learned. Everything that somebody's taught me, mentored me, coached me. I mean, I have 5 different coaches for all various, you know, things in my life. There's not one perfect way to do something. There's the right way. And that's the thing that I learn every single day is that I'm scraping my knees trying to figure out how to get through the day just like you. But ask. Be ballsy, man. Ask for that shit every day. If you're watching this and you're like in transition in life going, hey, you know, I've made a couple million. I'm trying to get to this level. Ask somebody who's been there before to mentor you. Don't ask to pick their brain. That is the worst thing you'll ever ask anybody. I don't want a scalpel to cut my head open, pull it out, and then like pick at it. Take them out to lunch. That was like one of the best pieces of advice I got early on. Just take somebody to lunch. And I was just talking to a buddy, and I was talking about employees. You know, you hire somebody new and you throw them into the den and you hope they survive. And I'm like, why don't you give them every reason to thrive? And I said, well, what does that mean? He goes, you need to create a mentorship program for that new employee the day they start and give them like 90 days of mentorship, meaning somebody on your team mentors the new employee and takes them for 90 days. That's their go-to person. And then at 90 days, learn, like do like a backwards ask and say, tell me what you've learned in the last 90 days. Could you teach me? Because I'm going to give you the chance to mentor the new person coming in the door. Right? Like we put people into the lion's den, they die, and we're like, well, that person didn't work out. I'm like, of course they didn't. You didn't give them any tools to succeed. You gave them all the ways to fail. So being a friend, showing up, and then caring enough about the person that you're in business with or, you know, hiring to come on board to give them all the reasons to succeed. And that's probably been my biggest takeaway from being at this event too.
Well, you bridged a gap, or I'm going to try to bridge a gap that I think you might have already closed, which is this struggle with me of relationships first, but never making the ask, right? And then another way to say that is relationships first. And how do you take that from being woo-woo, floating in the ether to like a tactical ROI thing, right? And being a quote unquote productive business person with a predictable selling system that actually works. And one thing you said was make the ask, right? Like you can build the relationship and make the ask at the same time. You just have to be careful that you're building a relationship first or building a relationship as priority.
It's all friends for me, man. I don't need the business.
Yeah.
It's all friendships. And it took me a long time to get to that mindset. I teach and coach people one kind of general philosophy. I said, you know, you ever been to a ball game with a friend? It doesn't matter, basketball, football. I'll use baseball for right now. And we had like the mindset coach for the Yankees in that room last night. Former, mindset coach for the Yankees. She was there for 4 years. And my analogy's always been is like, I'm a fan in the stand watching the game and I can say, I can do better. Like I could do better as the guys keep striking out. I'm like, put me in the game. I'll do better. And then all of a sudden lights go dim and the sound, everything gets really quiet. And you hear like the voice from the Field of Dreams, right? Somebody comes and taps on your shoulder and says, all right, you said you could do better. Put on the jersey, go sit on the bench. Coach is going to put you in next. And you're like, what? I'm like, dead serious. You're up to bat. They're counting on you to win the game. There's 2 runners on. If you get them in, you got the game. And you get up to bat and all of a sudden you strike out. So you have this like huge lesson to learn. Are you going to go back into the stands with your head down or are you going to get some coaching? All your thing is coaching. Someone just whispering in your ear like, hey, have you asked Tony? That was like all you needed because now you know better. See, it's only a blind spot once. After that, it's a choice. So now you're just going to do better because you're like, shit, Aaron told me. I mean, this is the guy like I hang out with and he's like, dude, go get it. And I'm going to sit here and next time you interview me, I'm going to ask you, I'm like, specifically, how many asks have you been asking people recently? And I promise you from this day forward, you're going to be more aware and mindful of it. And that's going to make all the difference in your business. And that'll take you from where you're at to where you've never gone before. But just simply implementing that one little thing. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but the fan in the stand is what we all are. We all believe we can be better than we are. We just don't know how to get there. Get coaching, get a mentor, get somebody to sit with you. Because this isn't hard stuff. It's basics. And that's what we struggle with, is the basics.
So, all right, I like that. So let's pull into employment. And we talked a little bit about, I talked about the frame of your structure, right? So you had a 5,000 foot facility for a period of time. Mm-hmm. How big is the facility right now?
Well, we have just over 100,000 square feet and just in massive growth mode to try to launch another 100,000 square feet before the end of next year. So I'm in play mode right now. I'm back to like playing Monopoly. I'm tired of landing on Baltic. I'm ready to go get all Park Place, Boardwalk, and everything else, right? So I'm like, let's go. And you still roll the same die, get on the same pieces on the board, but it's all mindset to get around the game, right? And so it's strategy.
So talk about relationships inside of the company and how the structure of the company is changing or has changed with relationships in mind, right? So like you've got heavy relationship forward approach to life, but specifically client acquisition, partnerships, et cetera. Then you've got people that are working inside of the factory, right? Inside of the warehouse, packing, putting stuff together. That's a very different avatar, right? Than the entrepreneur that's making a few million bucks a year, living a fun lifestyle.
I think it's, no matter how you slice it, there's 2 sides of every story, right? And every side. And it's been one of the biggest struggles for us is to try to bridge the gap. So one of the things we talked about the other day with my business partner is doing a mentorship where like myself can learn about who's packing orders, taking an account manager who's on like the office side and getting them into the warehouse side. So they can kind of become closer together instead of just like, hey, we're over here. Also, Chris Guerrero was talking about taking the entire company, all facets of the entire organization, warehouse, doesn't matter, management, lower management, putting them together basically in a giant room and start saying what's working and not working in our business at least once a year. He says his greatest ideas come from a whole bunch of people bringing forward information. And my first thought is like, dude, I'm not going to say something in front of like a manager because I don't want to get fired. But if you can figure out how to do it in a way where everybody feels like, hey, there's nothing wrong here and I'm just trying to make the company better. So I was like, damn, dude, that's some good advice. It's straightforward. But the hardest part for us really is bridging the gap between the 2 sides because they're dynamically different. You walk into the office, somebody's got their feet up, they're making some phone calls. They just booked a trip. They're going to Costa Rica. And the people in the warehouse are packing orders and they're saying, dude, all these people in there are lazy. They don't work. They leave early. They come late whenever they want. They don't know there's that side. So Chris was saying, solve that by getting everybody together and say, what do you do? Mm-hmm. Like you're the rainmaker. You got to go to events, right? You're playing with your dog. You're hanging out. You're having fun. You're on the, I can see the visual. Like you're kind of leaning back. You're on the phone. You're bouncing the ball. Your dog's running back and forth, right? That's work. That's just your version of what you need to do so that all right, cool. I just booked 2 trips. I'm going because there's money. I'm going because there's an opportunity. I'm not wasting my time. But the person in the warehouse is packing orders, morning, Monday through Friday and coming in on Saturday, and they don't have that life. So we're working on some strategies and plans. And one thing we just did was launch Above and Beyond. So we did it on the office side with only one person a month can win it. And now we have 3 in the warehouse. And the 3 get like preferred parking, some cool lunches, some extra stuff to give them a chance to feel not better, because I don't want anybody to feel less than or more than. I just want people to feel like that they are cared about. So a lot of what I'm learning is by trial and error. And I don't have the perfect way. I'm just trying to figure out the right way right now for my company to kind of get to that next level of growth that we've got on the horizon. And I'll say it on here, man, I fuck up. I straight up don't do anything perfect. And there's no perfectness, but the warehouse people are like my family. So I want to make sure I don't lose sight of my family. And what's the old saying? The people we hurt most are the ones closest to us.
Yeah.
So some good stuff for me to take away from the last couple of days of just downloading some stuff that I kind of replay. And that's in that archaeology stuff. I got to go back and like dig through some of it. Your past holds all the secrets of your future.
Yeah. One of the things that's become more evident today than ever for me is humanity's problems have already been solved.
Absolutely.
Hundreds of times over thousands of years, we have the same problems. We fix them. A new generation comes up, has the same problems. They fix them. A new generation comes up, and we keep struggling with it because our memory is short and we don't pay attention to the past. I like hearing that. So I want to get tactical for a second or ask you a couple of like specific things. So you have at least a good chunk of your client base are people that sell supplements, and some of them do really significant volume, have big businesses. Some of them are just getting off the ground-ish, or like they have a business, but it's not massive. What are the major missteps? What's the biggest mistake that you see when people come in and they're launching a supplement company?
I remember a conversation I had with a buddy of mine. He goes, dude, we screwed up. I go, what do you mean? I go, we built this VSL, we launched, we spent like 40 grand, we threw traffic at it and it sucked. And so we canned it and we went and spent another 40 grand on another one. I was like, all right, cool. I mean, could have been season, the traffic was bad, it wasn't converting, it wasn't the right offer, So people jump too quick. I just think they jump businesses we were talking about, jump offers too quick. They're in a relationship and something isn't right. They're like, I'm out of here. And I'm like, wait. Something sparked your interest in the beginning. Why are you leaving? There's a lesson to be learned. So I'm a believer, like put in your time. Business started in my garage 20 some odd years ago. I'm not too proud to lick stamps, stuff envelopes, do whatever I need to do to make something happen. And I think a big problem people also do is they want to delegate fast. And instead of learning how to do it first and then train somebody to learn what they learned and to let them try, kind of like the mentorship program, and then say, hey, teach me what you're learning. What do you think we can do? And so that's one reason like drainers and drivers came along for us. Like, what's 3 things that drain you in your business? What's the things that drive you in your business? What can you teach me from where you were at that I don't know, that maybe you're transitioning from, a different company and coming in and working with me? I also don't want you to work for me. I want you to work with me. It's a really pivotal moment when you key in on language is we're a team. There isn't I run the company. Yeah, it may be I own a 50% share in the company, but I'm in the trenches with you every single day, operating like somebody who's in the trenches. I'm not the guy pointing the finger at you. Go do this. I'll go do it myself first. So I believe in going first in an organization. I believe in showing people the way, not hoping that everybody figures it out, because no one really knows what tomorrow's going to look like. And you made the perfect segue for us, but Jim Rohn talks about it. The last 6,000 years has been nothing more than difficulties mixed with opportunities. The next 6,000 years looks the same seasons and all that shit rolled into one. So in 20 plus years of offers and seeing people come and go, one thing stays the same. There are people who are built to scale, and there are people who don't know that they're going to fail until they try, and then they quit so soon. And I'm like, man, there is a great image on the internet of 2 miners picking away, and one quits right before the mine, and he finds all the diamonds. The other guy's just happy-go-lucky, dude. I'm just going to figure it out. So keep picking. Just keep picking, man. Just keep trying, like every day. Take away, what was the 3 drainers of your day? What was the 3 drivers of your day? And just keep a log. Be the archaeologist and go back and start looking at and see the track record. Traffic may or may not work on a specific day. Did you ever look that maybe it's election time, it's a holiday, maybe there's something big going on in the world that's got all the eyeballs of the audience? Like, don't know what you don't know. So start logging it, and then you can start seeing, and then you'll figure out your season or scale. I have seasons of scale in our business, and then I have lulls. 2 months ago was a total lull. Why? Because kids are back in school. Parents are transitioning their kids from high school to college or getting ready for, back to school. And then all of a sudden it spikes because the seasons are changing, right? recording this in Q3 into 4. As that is changing, then the holidays are coming up. Then there's New Year's, and then there's weight loss, and like then it's summer again, right? And so you have all these little like lulls. So don't quit because you got in it. And I love this. I learned this a long time ago. Never quit on a bad day. So don't quit your offer on a bad day.
Yeah.
Call some friends and go, hey, dude, will you take a look at my offer?
I love that.
Dive into behind the scenes. Hey, maybe you're failing because you have the wrong merchant provider. Maybe you should go look at your merchant accounts and see what you've got checked in there for fraud. And maybe you're scrubbing so hard that you're missing all of the opportunities. And then do you have somebody calling on those bad numbers? See, there's an opportunity to convert at any part of the funnel.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I know you're pressed for time, man, so I don't want to keep you. I appreciate you coming out.
I'm empty as your sneaker game, dude. You got Crocs on, I got Hearts on, but that's it. It's all good.
We both got some clean white kicks right now.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'll keep my word if you keep yours. So here's the only way I'm going to make this happen. You come to visit me.
Oh, I love it. I'm in.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm in.
Thank you.
Love you, brother. Where can people find you if they want to learn more about Tony G?
Perfect. One place is easy. Just shipoffers.com. You'll find me there.
Cool.
That's it. And we'll be able to hang. And I'm going to invite you again, one more up. Come and drive the tractor, man. Come and play on the land. Have some fun.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we got music.
We got music. I got lots of it.
Sweet. All right, brother.
Thank you.
If you learned one thing on this episode, share it with another entrepreneur. They need to hear it. Also subscribe so that new episodes just show up on your phone. It's a lot easier that way. And if you want the really good stuff, check out our free BAM! Tactics and Strategies course. It's where we curate the best tips, tricks, and tools that our guests know, whether they've shared them on the podcast or not. Just go to beyondamill.com. You'll also find previous episodes and show notes at beyondamill.com.